Did y'all think I was done last time? Well, think again, we have much more to yap about my stars. If you watched my last Toasty rant, you know that we left a big gap in the story I was telling. Now I'm back to fill that gap. And hopefully you'll be here to listen, my stars. If you haven't watched the first video, do go watch it because you'll have no idea what I'm talking about here. Quick PSA that not all the speed paints in the background will be relevant to what I'm talking about in the video. Some will be just background OCs to fill in space. But regardless, we're getting right to it. Let me tell you about the pre-act. In the last video, I explained the gods of this universe, how they worked, and I had spoken about Milos, the god of living, and how he created magic for humankind to use. Now, since magic got introduced to humans, they began to use it for their own good, to get to higher places, lift heavier things, and build things they didn't believe they could before. But, of course, human greed can't leave anything good be. Humans quickly began comparing themselves to Milos and his abilities, claiming that he wanted to keep them as less than him. Many began to fight and protest against the only god they had on their side. Things like, well, why can't we have powers like him, and why can the gods have all the power they want and we can't, became common questions. In turn, from these protesters rose up the Resemblance. The Resemblance was a group of wizards and witches who turned on Milos and the other gods, and created what in the world would be referred to as evil-rooted magic. The Resemblance's ultimate goal was to rise up to the level of the gods and become as powerful as them. Spoiler, that didn't work. The Resemblance spent years building their group and getting more people to join them. Of course, there were people trying to rationalize and work with the Resemblance to try to stop them. One of those people being our lovely Ember. Ember was a strong witch. She was a constant protester against the Resemblance and defended the gods' actions restlessly. She was the most publicly resisting of the Resemblance, but even with that, it didn't get the Resemblance to stop or slow down. As years went on, she was the one to uncover that the Resemblance were planning their quote-unquote grand finale. Although Ember didn't know any details about this plan, she worked hard to make sure there was a way to, if not stop, then reverse whatever the Resemblance were going to do. Roughly along this time was when she made Otter, her pet dragon. Dragons, which were alive back then, by the way, but you could imagine the stuff that humans did to cause them to go extinct. In turn, she created two important things for future use. The first one was basically an alphabet which she named Manjur, and the translations were hidden in her second creation, the Bime Stones. The Bime Stones were very magically strong stones that could be used by anyone to protect themselves from the evil magic forces. They would additionally be the only things that could translate those writings. Ember spent years in the Ray Mountains, which surrounded the village basically, and traveled to the southern caves with Otter to create these writings of how she was working against the Resemblance and how she was controlling the magic in Manjur so that those writings wouldn't be found. It was somewhat peaceful as Ember and Otter spent their days together, fighting new caves, learning the magic Ember was trying to input in the Bime Stones, and got lots of time to bond. But of course, nothing good ever lasts, as the day the Resemblance were planning finally came. What was their plan, you ask? Well, their plan wasn't really smart. They planned to collect all the witches and wizards in the Resemblance, and all use their combined magic power to create this huge force of energy. According to them, this force of energy was supposed to spread through them and give them all powers like the gods. The best way to imagine it would be like a huge glowing ball of magic in the center of town, growing and growing as those witches and wizards stood in a circle around it. Unluckily for Ember, she realized what was happening from the other villages way too late, and had no time to try and stop the Resemblance. So she grabbed all the Bime Stones she created and took them to one of the caves with Otter. She got the Bime Stones to make a magical shield around Otter and left them there, asking him to protect them as he went into this induced coma type thing, again done by Ember. Once she made sure that her dragon and her most precious creations were safe from the magic of the Resemblance, she ran out, helped any other villagers to hide before running head first into the town center. Sadly for her, she was already too late, and this huge glowing ball of energy exploded the moment she got to the town center. Think supernova, but on a much smaller scale. This would be what people refer to as the Great Fallout. Okay, jingle jingle, pay attention, we're not done yet. You could imagine the aftermath of all that. The magical explosion not only killed basically all people near it, but spread all the magic it had inside out. It got into land and got sucked in. After a couple of months, the plants had absorbed it. And the animals which ate plants ate them, and other animals ate those animals. You know how it goes. That magic got into animals and changed them into these mutated versions of themselves that got bigger, used magic, and gained abilities no animal had before. These type of animals were referred to as Sherlops, which are still around today when the main story takes place. By the way, remember Olive? I had his pet snake. He's also a Sherlop, but that's a story for another time. Now, don't think we're done with Ember yet. When Amber died, her soul wasn't immediately sent to the afterlife. No. She was sent to her stars of creation, Lysa and Uranus. In short, the deities gave her an offer, as Eva was nowhere near gone, to go back on Earth as a new person and be given the chance to stop the evil forces once and for all when the time comes. Amber agreed under one condition. She has to make sure Ada would recognize her. The deities looked at her like, that's it? But did agree to grant her that wish. Now, we need to think real hard. Who is the blue-eyed character that matches Amber, is passionate about magic, and is the protagonist of the story? That's right, Addison just reincarnated Amber. Boring, but it's for the character development. And she was sent in the right time, as generations of those that survived did rebuild the town, but some refused to believe in history. One of them being Elder Arthur, who's the one raising Levi, our antagonist. Or Addison's future lover. Who said that? Levi grew up isolated from the world, basically, just being fed Elder Arthur's lies without even getting a chance to think for himself. Elder Arthur has been raising Levi and getting a secret society formed to try and recreate the events of the Great Fallout, as they believe their ancestor ascended to godhood. This all wraps up our second half of the last video, which brings us to the main story, which is yet to occur. Okay, I'm tired now. Now, that was the entirety of the background information in 2 parts. I hope you enjoyed hearing me out for the last 2 videos. And if you made it here, stay just for another minute. Next month, July 25th, will be this channel's 1-year anniversary. Yay! And I very much want to hear some ideas from you, my stars, on what you'd wish to see. You can comment any ideas here, and later on, roughly mid-July, I'll make a poll on the main ideas gathered, and you'll get to vote on it. I'm hoping to hear from all of you. But until then, that's all for me today. If you enjoyed hearing me out, consider liking the video and subscribing. And better yet, you can go check out my other videos on screen. And while you're at it, you can go check out my Instagram and Tumblr. Remember to shine bright, my stars, and bye-bye!